So concerning the arrest of a former Dr. Bawumia aide, Miracles Abuaje, finally, EOCO for the statement about Bonten are hitting with 6 charging and 7 others. Omokoko arrest Miracles Abuaje airport according to statements na EOCO release no and ya project the ato ye screen no enchen the amamra ha ye ntwantro wa ha sei. Na according to EOCO no Miracles Abuaje, there is some investigations bi a ekoso a ono oya aware former Dr. Bawumia ni AD na omode ne to stop list so ananka ontumi entu kwan enko ba bia bet unknownly no EOCO 40 or money na Miracles Abuaje were free chromia free chromia no mo free no omonya aware bet na de na to stop list so eno enti na Dr. Anasa Miracles Abuaje ebedru Ghana Saturday no ya omokoko arresting cause na investigations den koso na ne charges are omode born no abusua 55 million looted state funds bia during the time and as during NPP tenure no 2022 na ohodi office bia HSN na or CC and right now or a former secretary of the interministerial coordinating committee IMCCOD na ohodi da office no na sa 55 million Ghana cedis a omolutu ede show mo no abusua charges no ye de abom a 6 charges na EOCO ede bom eno na chese wo screen no enchen statement na EOCO release eno na waase no 1 also conspiracy to steal and stealing, 2 using public office for profits, 3 causing financial loss to the state, 4 dissipation of public funds, 5 defrauding by false pretenses, 6 money laundering. Into 6 charges eno ene de abo Miracles Abuaje and 1 Mr. Gerard Apia abusua enti no enye ono nko a ene chese okose saa sika one amanfo bi na according to EOCO no kra na yese 1 Mr. Apia and Miracles Abuaje omo ate ase se enka omo return saa looted state fancy. Abusia, there is much interesting moment ahead. Mommy yanko na yanko ti ensema ekoso akasefo e de honsem bebre aba beto ja mommy yanko na yanko ti ensema ekoso ye ba ye de aka ebeto amso na answer na ye be kono Ghana ha se open computer papa and a laptop papa na we use abura Perosi computers and accessories ho and na obenya laptop papa na we using the location enya ira kwan o Kumasi Bokrum Estate Eli Peke number ya egu ye screen ya see na friend ade ba ko a ede woman say okra low budget and a high budget obema high quality laptop na HSE we use yembonra yensem ne ba ya de aka beto amso.
EOCO has not released any statement, but I want to assure you that there is one thing I pick from Richard, the other one on phone statement, which I would like to say here is that anybody arrested must have his or her dignity protected. And one way of protecting the dignity is to retain some of the information about the reason why the person is arrested. So you don't go throwing that information all about when sometimes it's just on facts that you're arresting, not something that is proven yet in court. So sometimes it's good to retain some of that information so you don't share it. Number 2, I want to say that we have been in this country where we have watched matches being done to EOCO premises. And in the end, the persons for which the party has marched there is negotiating something else based on the reason why the party has marched there. So is it not too early for this march to be organized today that we want to go to EOCO and demand his release? By the way, the reason I said 24 is that the Constitution says 48 hours.
Yes. To be arranged
before court or released. So that is why I was wondering if you are going between 48 and 24.
So my question is more about
the release of statements.
Yes.
Yes.
Like details as to why he's
That is why I'm saying
arrested.
that, yes, it is just Monday morning. It is by my watch. If I'm, okay, it's just 8:05. Let's give EOCO a further an hour or 2. I believe that Raymond Nacha knows exactly what he's doing. And for all these days, he has been on top of issues. So I don't think that is an issue yet to be debated. Number 2, I find it wild to say that because Miracles has declared his intention to contest director of communications. That's the reason why he's being arrested, or for the fact that he's a serious critic. That's why he's being arrested. Oh, Richard, my brother here. So you are also a candidate to be arrested because you're also a critic of the government? No. Nobody goes to arrest. What is the reason for going to arrest somebody because they have declared to become director of communication? In one breath, Richard here tells us that they don't know the reason why he's arrested. In the other breath, he says that he's being arrested. You ask him specifically, so you have concluded that he's being arrested because he is a critic of the government. I mean, the government that has been more tolerant. Bro, when you were talking, even when you were talking, no, Mr. Yangba, no. When you were talking, even when Richard on the line wanted to interrupt you, you said no, don't interrupt. Let me flow. Now, you see, that's the reason why, that's the purpose. Now, so we on one hand, he also tells us that he's been arrested Saturday. He's not spoken to anybody. Then on the other hand, he tells us that they are weekending, so nobody has spoken to Miracles whilst in detention. Which one do we have to buy? But I want to stand on the fact that even persons who are currently standing trial and were arrested by EOCO, Addo Wuntumi, and few others. There was even a post by the current Deputy Attorney General who visited some to find out if they are being treated very well. So anybody upon the assumption of office of the current government that has been arrested has always been treated fairly and nicely. So the idea that you talk to your lawyer, I believe today, whatever will be, either EOCO will release him, EOCO will charge him, EOCO will send him to court, or EOCO will make all the other arrangements for him to be spoken to about this. Also the issue about he was coming in, why arrest him? That presupposes that you know when he should be arrested or at what situation he should be arrested. Assuming he was having breakfast or he has finished breakfast and was arrested, you would have said that he should have been waiting to have lunch. He will have lunch. Why do you arrest him? No, we don't know what the investigative body knows. We don't know whether the young man coming into the country, the next step will be to thwart some of the investigation. So let's allow EOCO. That is the investigative body that has arrested. I want to state it categorically here that this government has never used arrest as a form of intimidating persons. Indeed, some people feel that there are not enough arrests. It's all over there. You see it on social media every day. So for somebody to suggest, either remotely or very far, that the government is currently using arrest as intimidation. Why? Miracles has been allowed to say a lot of things. He's gone to Cocoa areas, he's gone to Galamsey areas. He was never arrested just for the fact that he has announced that he's going to contest. Indeed, until this morning, I thought Richard was going to contest. And I believe you knew too. You thought the same way too. That's why you asked the question. So I was going to say that if Richard was going to talk that way, then perhaps Richard will say, oh, they're using this, my opponent, and okay, keep him small so that I will campaign. Or if you don't keep him so he gets so much publicity, he affects my campaign. But he told it, nobody is interested in whatever he becomes. Of course, that's is a government in waiting one day, so everybody would like to know what happens in your opponent's camp. But to say that Miracles' arrest is linked to the fact that he has declared to contest National Director of Communication for the New Patriotic Party, that is far-fetched. That cannot be the truth.
Well, he's given all these instances because he says there's no clear communication as to why he was arrested, which is why they are allowed, or they are given room to conjecture. Because if up until now the statement had come, then maybe that would have assuaged all fears as to exactly what could have been the reason. You see,
let's situate it in the context of the law. Has EOCO breached any operational procedures?
Have they?
Have they? No.
Okay.
They have not. I mean, the one we should be talking about. That is why I don't want you to limit yourself to 24 hours, lest you are writing a new clause in our constitution.
Okay.
Our constitution allows them to keep the person up to 48 hours. Not to fall to the side of the sword between the two Richards. I will say that my understanding of the other Richard is that for the fact that you need to even give information must not necessarily mean it has to go to MPP or to NDC, but it can be given to Ghanaians. If I understand correctly, and not to fall on the sword of my brother Richard in the studio here, but suffice that to be, let's put that aside. The 48-hour limit, they are allowed to keep or detain you Now, the only part that we don't know yet is that was he told why he was arrested? I believe the guys would have told him. They wouldn't have just arrested him and bundled him and said that we are taking you away without telling you the reason for your arrest. They would have told him the reason for his arrest. So the idea that his dignity will be violated, his rights will be violated, are not there. And I want to appeal to my brother. Yes, they have every right to demonstrate, to march, mount all the platforms, placards to say free miracles now. But at the end of the day, we saw it. All MPs went and sat in front of EOCO.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if they want to trace the story back from where we are now, about that same story, to where they sat on the floor, a lot of them would have said, if we had known what we know today, we wouldn't have gone there. That is why I believe that let's allow EOCO. It's just 8 o'clock. In the next 1.5 hours or an hour, EOCO might be releasing statements.
All right. Let me bring Lawyer Pierre Dankwa in. I mean, with everything that's happening, what do you say?
Yeah, so well, let me wish yourself. Let me wish you yourself a good morning. I wish my brother here a good morning, and to say that I'm very happy in the UP, and hopefully he will come home, like all the other MP people do come home to the original home, not the.
From UP we came to MP.
Not the familiar spirit infested UP as it stands now. So Richard, will come
from UP we came to MP.
We come. Your seat as what's called a vice chair will be secured. You don't have to. And then to my learned friend here, a good morning. Bill, my view here is, and I think I've been pretty consistent with that view, that we ought to be faithful, loyal, and show fidelity, and unconditional fidelity to our constitution and the tenets and principles that underpins those that underpins our constitution. I think we all need to understand that the purpose for our constitution, essentially, one is to guarantee and secure for ourselves our right to life, our right to our liberties, and our right to pursue our own happiness. And to achieve same, our constitution lay down certain principles and values that will aid us in achieving these. One of the fundamental values there, one was the value of respect for the rule of law, and two, amongst others, is a respect for the principle of probity and accountability. Now, when I call for a fidelity to the terms of our constitution, it is to say that we ought to respect all the values, not some of the values. And to this end, we ought to understand that our right to our liberties, as has been provided for in our constitution, is a right that has fetters. It's not a right that does not have fetters. It has fetters. So when you go to Article 14 of our constitution, and I recognize that MPP quoted Article 14 too, but I think that it is right that we read Article 14 in its entirety. And when you read Article 14 in its entirety, you quickly realize that our right to our liberties is a fettered right. Is a right that has fetters. Now it says that, so at least for the education of your viewers, that every person shall be entitled to his personal liberty, and no person shall be deprived of his personal liberty except. So now the fetters are coming, except in the following cases, in accordance with procedure permitted by law: one, in execution of a sentence or order of a court in respect of a criminal offense of which he has been convicted. It goes on and on. I think the bit that will interest us is upon reasonable suspicion of his having committed or being about to commit a criminal offense under the laws of Ghana. And then when you go to the two decoded, the person who is arrested, restricted, or detained shall be informed immediately in a language that he understands of the reasons for his arrest, restriction or detention, and of his right to a lawyer of his choice. And I think it's important that we add the three. A person who is arrested, restricted, or detained for the purposes of bringing before a court in execution of an order of a court, or upon reasonable suspicion of his having committed or being about to commit a criminal offense under the laws of Ghana, and who is not released, shall be brought before a court within 48 hours after the arrest, restriction, or detention. So here, the key questions here are, one, has the laws, has the rules that governs this power given to the state, have they been respected? Because we we are all calling for a proper fight, a real fight against corruption. We are calling for accountability. You understand? And here we are calling for total accountability. But that call or any step towards this ideal ought to be within the confines of the law. So we are asking for accountability, but that accountability has to be within the confines of the law in the terms of our constitution, the purpose of our constitution. So the question is, did the arresting agency in arresting Miracle Sabuache behave in a manner that flouted any law? And here, I think the Constitution answers the questions clearly. That one, they have the power to arrest any of us if there's a reasonable suspicion that you have committed an offense. So they can arrest me if they reasonably believe that I've committed an offense or I'm about to commit an offense. So clearly, this right does not say that the arrest must be done in your home, the arrest must be done in church, the arrest must be done in the sports stadium. And so for me, it does not, or I do not see any breach of their powers, only because the arrest was done at the airport. I think that's the first point that has to be made. Now, secondly, the law says that when they are arresting you, they ought to tell you the person they are arresting. It does not say they have to inform your party. I think Richard Kumado even added his own. The Constitution here doesn't say they have to inform your family. It does not say that. So Ghana, we are very humane. So probably when they arrest or they're about to arrest, they call your family, oh, we are arresting your person. Oh. But what the Constitution is saying here, clearly, is saying that they have to tell you why they are arresting you. It did not add family. Of course, it did not add political.
And it doesn't add legal counsel.
Or it's saying that after they have told you why they're arresting you, then they must also tell you of your rights. And the rights include they informing you that you have a right to your counsel. You understand? Now, have they done or did they do this? We do not know. But from the MPP's own statement, they are saying that they've heard that Miracle Sabuache has been arrested, but they said they've not had a conversation with him. If I'm wrong, they said they have not had a conversation with Miracle Sabuache. Now, what does this mean? It means that one, the MPP is not in the position to know whether or not he was informed about why he was arrested. They can't know. Two, the MPP cannot know whether they informed him about his rights, whether he had the right to his counsel or not. MPP is not in a position to know whether he's even spoken to his counsel. They can't know. Because from the terms of the release, they are telling us that they are making certain factual statements, you understand, which clearly from their own statement, they are not in the position to know.
But don't you think that if he had been given access to his counsel, the party that he represents would know?
How would they know? How would they know? Yeah. I get your question. It's a very good. But you see, I'm saying we have to be faithful to our constitution. We have to be faithful to all the terms of our constitution, and because of the consequence of the citizens, the people, losing faith in the ability of this constitution to protect our rights or to fulfill its objects, this creates an added responsibility on us as Ghanaians, especially on political parties that are key political institutions in this architecture. Understand? To be careful about what they put out there. Yes, because conversation that suggests that our constitution is unable to protect us does not augur well for not just the constitution, but for the purpose of the constitution. Because for this constitution to work, you need the people to believe in the ability of the constitution to guarantee us our rights. You understand? Because is there a case that MPP does not believe in the principle of accountability or probity? Yeah, you understand? Because when you issue a statement that demands for a release of anybody who has been arrested, when you understand, or you ought to understand that that person can be arrested on a reasonable suspicion of his having committed an offense. And when I listen to my brother Richard here, I understand that, and Richard is very smart. I'm not saying he did that because he's here. He knows that. I respect him a lot. But Richard made a statement that suggests that he knows that a certain level of conversation has been going on between EOCO. Well, I don't know whether he didn't mention EOCO, he didn't mention anybody, but within some investigative body and Miracle, except that he does not find expedience to, and I agree with him. He does not need to come here and then disclose. But if the party is aware that there is some level of conversation going on between some investigative body and, then you should not be quick to issue a statement which may cause us to question your fidelity to our constitution. Because when they were in power, they behaved in so many ways that for me proved to me that they were not loyal to our constitution. I can mention the Shalato say what's called issue. I can mention the fight against Galamsey, where special prosecutor went after Professor Frimpong Boateng when he had brought a report that essentially was supposed to help us. I can talk about how the president appointed people who had political coloring onto the EC. I can mention so many other arrests and detentions, which essentially were illegal. And then when they were in opposition, how they were quick to go and demonstrate when Chemaun to me was arrested. And they did that demonstration before a breach of that 48 hours. The demonstration was not before the after for 48 hours. But having said that, there's also a principle that says that justice must not only be done, it must manifestly be seen to be done. And so then we ought to understand that where an arrest involves a politically exposed person, that even though the terms of the Constitution may not have expressly said that you ought to inform the political party, but then there is an obligation, in my opinion, to let the citizens know exactly what is happening. Because there's a very thin line between political persecution and prosecution. A very thin line. And there's an obligation on the state to drive a narrative which will not cause the citizens to believe that what is happening is the political persecution. Indeed, I mentioned here that I have issues with those huge bill terms that are placed on these politically exposed persons, when, like in the Chemaun to me case. Because mind you, the police itself gave a police inquiry bill and placed such a huge bill sum. For me, it was a fundamental breach of his rights. Yes, because when you place a bill condition which is so onerous that the person will not be able to fulfill it. You understand? You understand? For me, it does not answer the burden on you not to keep the person beyond 48 hours. Also, this is not the first time this allegation is being made, that people have been arrested and they have not had access to their lawyers. You understand? Quickly, if that is not the case, then there's also an obligation on the state to tell us that, listen, these allegations that are being made are not truthful, and in that he's had access to his counsel, and we fulfilled every right that is available to him under the terms.
So you expect that communication should have been made by now?
Yeah, because he's a politically exposed person, so this is a matter of interest to the people of Ghana. And that's why sometimes I say the MPP are very inconsistent. Because, you know, Professor Yine, the AG, introduced something which I was very surprised that he was being criticized. He introduced a system, whether he or not, but I don't recall the AG doing that. If somebody had done that, has done to be corrected, of informing the people about steps that, or about cases, or about investigations. And then people were up in arms against him. You understand? Now, this time they've kept quiet. And yeah, okay, let me be very restrained here because my brother pay advice. It's still about 8-something in the morning. And then when no statement has come out, the same MPP are up in arms saying that, listen, you ought to tell us. So what's your position? You understand? So for me, I think that we should all of us should exercise a little bit of restraint.
Okay.
This news, I heard it. I heard it after I was on the topic that I didn't even know that.
Oh, you didn't know?
I didn't know that. Yeah, you understand. We are still early in the morning. I think that the statement that MPP made is not, in my humble opinion, is not genuine. And am I allowed to use the word reckless?
Yeah, if you think it is, yeah.
Okay, I'm go as far as saying it's reckless. It's reckless. I'll say it's careless.
Oh.
You understand? And
What's the degree of difference?
No, reckless is more serious. You saw how Richard was one is one.
I think careless is worse.
You understand? All of us have a fidelity to our constitution and the purpose of our constitution. Let us behave. What's called a spirit. Let us exhibit a culture. Let us act in a manner that always shows our loyalty to our constitution and the terms of our constitution, even at the expense of our parochial interests and our party's agenda.
All right. Mr. Richard Anyagba.
So Bella, anybody can insult. So I won't engage Richard.
But do you also agree that you may have made statements that also angered him by referring to statements as reckless?
What statement? We're not here to cater to people's emotions, and I didn't make any statement targeting him. You brought him into a conversation. I said the statement he made is reckless. If you make a reckless statement, ought to be said. You cannot tell me the whole labor of civil rights is aimed at expanding rights in a democracy. People died for that. People labored so rights in democracy can't be protected. My brother is a lawyer. He's talking about a law. There is a dance between democracy and law. That's democracy being politics and people wanting freedom. The law restrains it, but the continuous labor of civil rights is to expand the rights of people, because really what you are doing is to build a society, and that society must be comfortable with what you are building. So law is there to be, to be expanded. The rights of people must be expanded by pushing the boundaries of the law. So if there is a law that goes against the freedom and rights of the people in a democracy, that's why you can amend laws. Oh, you understand? So the law is not static. Politics causes the law to be amended. So when we have a situation which is critical, that goes to the heart of what we are building in a democracy, whereupon the people will become unhappy because they are being excessively restrained and regulated, then there must be a constructive conversation about that. So civil rights is politics and is democracy. So when we are having that conversation, and somebody who says that he's a security person and doesn't understand the labor and pain of people to try and expand the rights of people, should not just assume that what he knows is superior.
He's worked with these institutions.
He's worked with that
And
institution. That institution, I'm coming. I don't dispute that. But I'm saying that to say they don't owe in a democracy any explanation is reckless, especially when in the circumstance there has been no communication whatsoever.
But
you get the point I'm making.
I get you, but council here has also read the Constitution to us.
I agree.
And in that Constitution, it does not even extend to even family.
But I'm
it
just
says
saying
clearly that it is just to him.
But I'm saying
rights
that
need
to
be read
him,
and that's it.
to him, part of his Miranda rights extend that he's given access to his lawyers. When his lawyers learn, okay, they will tell the party. They'll tell his family. Right now, he's not been. I'm coming. What is the information? The thing is not about informing. It's about knowing what has happened. Right? We don't know anything. So if you say that when exactly we don't know anything, and you say they don't have responsibility, you are saying so inclusive of even the opportunity of a lawyer to know.
No, but he clearly said.
I'm just saying.
We heard Mr. Kumado, and he said that first of all, you need to be told your rights if you're arrested, then your family, and then legal counsel. That's what he said. And even counsel was saying that per the Constitution, it doesn't even extend to family and then legal rights. Eventually, you.
So what's the point, Bella? Right now,
rights. I'm just asking those questions.
I'm coming. Yeah, the point. Whatever you're asking, I've already told you. I'm saying that right now we don't know anything.
Okay.
Either his lawyers learning and telling us, or telling his family. We don't know. We don't know. And I'm saying that you want to err on the side of caution. When you're building a democracy, you establish norms that enhances your democracy. Okay, so if ordinarily that is the requirement or the modus operandi of BNI and EOCO, is it acceptable that in a democracy you see somebody and it is the norm that we accept that our institutions cannot be answerable in a democracy to the people? When you make that blanket statement, you create a certain appearance of this. Is this a democracy or not? That's the conversation I'm coming from. My brother is a lawyer, okay? I am a student of democracy. Okay, that's my research, that's my study. And so in a democracy, you must engage in a conversation of expanding rights. So if that limitation is there, we shouldn't entrench it. We should have a conversation that says that if that is there, it's not good enough. Especially because of that, since he was arrested from Saturday, his lawyers have not seen him. And then we have been told that they are ordinarily not responsible to the state, so it's okay that we don't know anything.
He didn't say it's okay.
I'm not saying that he's saying. I'm saying that. Okay. Oh, Bella,
Richard.
I beg you.
No.
What he has said, well, I'm analyzing from the import. And so if somebody sits at home and hears what he has said, what will be the person's conclusion? Not what he has said, it's how the person is going to digest it. What is the implication of that? The implication is that it is okay that they don't. And I'm asking you, is that okay in a democracy that we say that you can be seized? You can be seized and it's okay. Look, this thing we are talking about, if it hasn't happened to you, you think it's fine. But incommunicado, from Saturday till now, you don't know any conversation. I've told you earlier that we are essentially free souls. Okay? We're all free souls. So when your right is curtailed, what we are talking about here, excuse me to make this extreme parallel, but if His Excellency the President himself is detained right now, it doesn't matter all the power he has, you feel restless. Because that's who you are. You're supposed to be a free soul. So to restrain somebody's right, it's not child's play. It's not something I just come to radio and then just say anything I want about it. My brother made references to when we were in power and all that stuff. If yesterday was wrong, if any wrongs were done yesterday, are we to entrench it today? And I like where you ended to say that the state must fill the vacuum that is created by lack of information, opens the window to all sorts of guesstimations. That's the point we're making. Remember, why I wanted to interrupt you when you were speaking was that I didn't say that he was arrested for purposes of criticizing the government. But I'm saying that a vacuum is left. Why do you leave that vacuum? If you leave that vacuum, naturally we'll make assumptions. And I told you of a pattern that existed. Okay. Even as we speak now, my phone just went off, but a list of some names have been sent to me about individuals who criticized the government on TikTok or X, and they've been abused by police people. An individual, like one Camila or Alassane or so, arrested also just because he's criticized the government. A list of people, you are aware of people who are just being arrested for saying things. Yes, you disagree with what they have said, but in a democracy, if you do that, it extends to other things. And we're saying that let this be a democracy that grows.
If you make a statement, for example, that the president should be killed, excuse me for using that, you expect that what? The government will not react to that? You expect that the security agencies will sit down and allow such a statement to go? And not arrest the person?
Bella, so if all of us in unison decides to make that same comment, can they arrest all of us?
Richard, if you're
I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying that I don't agree with the statement.
Okay.
But in a democracy, you must find a way of dealing with those things.
How
when you create, I'm coming. That's a responsibility that you have. But to use the default control mechanism, which is to use security agencies to weaponize them, it is not good for democracy. I'm telling you that, well, unless we agree that today is convenient, so let's have that conversation, but because definitely tomorrow, it will happen. Because what happened yesterday will be used for justification for today's actions. And so what is happening, you can rest assured that there are some elements, okay, who would say that we shall see tomorrow. And in my view, as a student of democracy, where I think that we should make democracy the norm of our country. So we should make it comfortable and enjoyable for citizens, such that we prefer that any day. You remember what happened in Guinea-Conakry? where there was a coup d'etat, is it Conde, when he was removed. His effort to extend his rule or to run for a third term was reprehensible, but when it happened, the people, when this coup d'etat happened, the people went to the street to celebrate, okay, a coup d'etat. What does that tell you? It tells you that the citizens were tired of a certain brand of democracy.
What are you referring to?
I'm referring to you that
what are you saying?
I'm saying that citizens, when they are pushed to a certain limit, what is not preferred, they would appreciate because they feel there's a reprieve. And so what we should be doing is to make democracy attractive. That under any material time, if you present a Ghanaian with an option, he will choose democracy over anything. So the effort for us is to try and expand rights and make it so that the people feel that the government of the people, for the people, by the people, shall not perish.
Okay.
That's the conversation. So something as simple as inviting Miracles, which he's been available. You go to the extent of seizing him, create all this storm. To what end?
Who is creating the storm?
The storm we have created is that there's a storm is that the storm is that, Bella. The storm is that this man has been available to you. You can get him at any material time. He's not leaving the country. He's coming back to the country.
But you don't determine when the security agency should do that.
I don't determine it. But you see, there is a democratic norm we are building. There is a precedent to interacting with this individual. He's always been available. You see, when we begin to talk about this, wait.
At that point where he was arrested, that was when they had decided to impair their modus operandi. That was the right time to do so. You are saying what? It shouldn't have happened at that time? When should it have happened?
I don't know how I can make this example. I don't sound crude on the morning. But you see, if somebody seizes you right now in the studio, they can wait for the program to finish, okay, to seize you for whatever reason. But they just barge in here and seizes you. You say that we cannot ask under circumstances of proportionality and say that, but Bella is here, he's contained, he's here, he's going to come out from here, so why rush on the
So you think
stage?
that what?
I'm saying that we are not determining us and when they should arrest anybody. Nobody is saying that we should do that. You can do so, but the point is that the urgency, proportionality. Has this man been evading you? Has he been avoiding invitations? Is he attending upon your invitations or not? And the answer is yes, he is. He's available. He's not going anywhere. He's coming to this country.
But
so
you
can
don't
get
even
him.
know if he was invited formally. You don't have those details.
That what?
Whether he was formally invited in the past or not, we don't have all those details. Per what you have said earlier.
Bella,
Richard.
you just told me that you are aware of some invitations and stuff.
No, I never said that
No,
on this
no,
platform.
no.
You are the one who
No
said
problem.
that.
No
Yes.
problem. No problem. I'm just
I never
saying
said
that.
that.
I'm just no problem. So I'm saying that under any circumstance at all, the man is not leaving the country. He has come to the country. And I'm giving you information that you've invited him before. He is available for invitation. He was leaving this country. You let him go. And he has come back. It is upon his return that you are seizing him at the airport on a Saturday when you are not going to talk to him. That's the point my brother was making, that I said that he was seized, that nobody talked to him. He was seized on Saturday, put away. There is no official engagement in terms of investigation that, oh, this and this and that and that. You just went and put away. In fact, what we know is that the immigration officers seized him and handed him over to the EOCO the following day, right? And so
You're saying what? He was picked up
the immigration people kept him. He was in their custody and then given to EOCO. That's the information we have. And I'm saying that all of that, what are you really doing with him at that time?
So,
whereupon, because of who he is, okay, he's not a flight risk because he's in the country. You've been talking to him, and so he has come. So what warrants?
Okay.
What warrants that storm that you have created this morning that we're trying to understand? Because one, we don't have information.
You said that already.
Yes.
Understandable.
I mean, it's important to
You
make the point.
stated it, but
I'm coming.
let me quickly ask,
You,
so
if
I
you
can go
have
to
created a
council,
storm, I'm
because
coming.
you've been speaking
Let
for
me just
quite a
conclude.
while.
You just keep saying happy speaking for what.
You have to be fair. You have. So let me also.
But so you won't let me. You don't let me.
No,
conclude.
you are going to repeat something you've said already.
No, but there's a point I'm making.
Please let.
But the point I am making is that I said they've created a storm. I haven't explained. You asked what storm. Why I say it's a storm is that one, this is a person who's been available to you. And it will be. I'm coming.
Yourself all over again, Richard. So allow Council Jamaica
let me
to
just
come in.
make the point. I beg you. Is that okay? I drove this morning through traffic to come here.
Please carry
so if I come here, you as if I shouldn't
30
talk.
seconds,
Then why did I
so
come?
Council can.
So abuzuawe ne ensema ekọ so e political highway ne so enti NPP for did omo ye omo kase there is no reason enunti ama EOCO for akwakoche na ebi mo nso ye propaganda say ne intentional or declare say or pese or some certain position in NPP no eno intina ama ya arrest Miracles Abuaje. Finally, EOCO ababe clear a road na omo the reason why intia he is arrested. Ebuzuya, there is much interesting moment ahead. Ebeba na yedi any latest updates bia edi abrem. Medamase.